I can take Ansh here, I can put a VR headset on him, and let's say hypothetically I can put him in a flotation tank such that his outside sensory, like his skin, touch, smell, whatever, is all off. So all he has is his visual sensor with some audio input here.
Interesting, yeah.
And then he goes into this virtual reality state.
Yeah.
And I pull him out an hour later and I'm like, so what'd you learn? He's like, nothing, I saw a movie. That's nothing, right? But if that happens, the same virtual state occurs in a dream where he's asleep. His sensories are all kind of shut. But he has some kind of audiovisual input in the dream state. And if I pull him out and I'm like, what did you learn? There is at least an attempt to find meaning. And then if I take the third situation where Ansh is on some kind of psychedelics, he's on psilocybin, LSD famously. And then I bring him out in an hour and I'm like, so what did you learn from this experience? He'll think the meaning functions off the roof. I was so cosmic. I learned about myself and this is the meaning of the world and God is this. And so there is a gradient between a plain, simple, vanilla virtual reality experience, a dream state, and then a psychedelic state where meaning as a component really changes as the gradient goes up. And so I wonder if that is a real emotion or if that's just my brain tricking me.
In the sense that these are states of difference?
In the sense that there is actually meaning to dreams.
Meaning depends on what you mean by meaning.
So we can both agree that you definitely feel a sense.
There's a sense of meaning, the sense of meaning.
Right.
But mind you, the brain, there's a part of the brain that has to do with, there's a meaning part of the brain. There's a part of the brain called the Wernicke's area. It's up here. Right? In the
language center.
You got it.
Right.
You're good.
Yeah,
Did you study neuroscience?
No.
Okay.
I'm just interested.
Wernicke's is...
I have a friend. That helps.
Wernicke's is involved in things like semantic understanding of language, but also things like meaning, right? And so the brain constructs meaning a lot by communicating not only with... So the circuit goes from, for example, the Wernicke's to the limbic emotional part of the brain, and then it goes to things like the memory part of the brain, and then to other centers, overall creating a sense of meaning. So the brain has this meaning machinery, really, circuitry machinery that's for meaning. So it does create meaning. And so it creates meaning, but the parameters for creating that meaning differs all the time. Let me give you an example. Now, I'm teaching a course soon on the neuroscience of love. I told you before.
Yes.
Right? And this is, they chose me of all people. I don't even know how to, speak to a woman. I'm socially completely awkward. So they chose me to talk about love. I don't know how this happened, okay? So I'm teaching a course on love. And if you look at love and you fall in love, for example, what's going on in the brain? I'm going off a tangent here, but it'll make sense in a second. The neurochemistry of love is very peculiar, just like dreams, just like the dreaming brain looks a certain way with parts of the brain being active here and there and other parts shutting down. When you are in love, in the romantic infatuation, early stages of love, similar strange things happen. Like the prefrontal shuts down, serotonin goes down, dopamine flies, okay?
So we are stupider in love.
You have something called positive delusion where you think that woman is the only woman in the whole universe that could fit for you, even though you know objectively that's a lie. But your brain will convince you of this. Again, you create meaning based on the context of the neurochemistry and the functional activity of the brain. The brain in love is a hyper-specific type of brain, and you create meaning based on that. The brain that's dreaming is a hyper-specific brain that's based on that functional activity and the neurochemistry. A brain on cocaine is another brain that's also hyper-specific, and it produces meaning based on its neurochemical milieu, the underpinnings that's setting the stage for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like the neurochemistry that occurs underneath is a specific kind of neurochemistry that leads to a certain meaning creation.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you say to somebody like Jung, who's written volumes on how to interpret dreams? And look, Jung, I think, did a very detailed job. So he gets into the symbolism of it and what the symbols mean. And I think there is a magic to talking about those symbols in that, for instance, I don't have any fear of growing old. I'm all of 29.
Okay.
It hasn't occurred to me that my joints are waning or my hair is graying. I'm not losing loved ones just yet. I'm still young and in my 20s, right? Take me back 5 years ago. I'm 24. I'm not even 25. My brain's not fully developed, boss. Like, this is youth maximus. I'm in college. Just giving you an example of how young somebody can be in their head. And they might have a dream of losing their teeth.
Yeah.
That's a fairly common dream.
Very common.
Right? Or I think there are versions of very common symbols that appear in dreams that then Jung tried to sort of parse out and be like, losing your teeth might be you're afraid of aging or one of these two, right? At this point, you can mess around with your LLMs and kind of have them Jung it up, whatever your
100%
dreams are.
working.
My wife loves that. She will type out her entire dream and then want explanations for it. And dreams in pre-scientific, almost even pre-philosophical times, must have been a window into thinking about what's beyond. Just like stars were at a certain point when tribals would look at stars above the savannah, they would think that this is God talking to them in a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm sure dreams occupied that space.
Yeah.
Kind of still culturally do.
Yeah.
Some cultures, some people specifically might think that there is symbols and that kind of stuff. Now, humor specific, Freud said that this is just unfulfilled desire, because Freud was very desire-centric in his psychoanalytical explanations. If you come towards a Sadhguru or an Osho, which is a spiritual line of thinkers, they'll have their own explanations, and some of them would look like what Freud is saying, Jung is saying, Adler is saying, Horney is saying. So there is this conversation that's happening in the Western canon, and I think the Indian canon, where we're all asking questions about dreams, because dreams lead directly into consciousness.
Yes.
And they all express a sort of metaphysical meaning equation to it, a metaphysical, this is what is happening and this is what it means. What do you say to something like that? What's your explanation? How do you see that? And you can get speculative. I know this is a departure from hard science in a certain way, but I want to know.
It's very interesting. So for me, I feel like, okay, first of all, yes, obviously you have a certain brain circuitry to dreams that is clear, right? We know it. So there's a brain circuitry, there's activation of various centers, they fire, and you have a certain brain. And based on that, you create meaning, right? There's threat simulation and all that, right? But then you go into things like the symbolic meaning of dreams, right? What do dreams have a spiritual significance? Now, as a person myself, I'm a spiritual person. I'm originally Kurdish from Iraq. I believe in the spiritual realm, God and all that. That's just my own personal faith.
Right.
So for me, the question is, what about prophetic dreams or divine, Ramanujan? You know Ramanujan?
Of course I know,
right?
yes.
He amazing. His story is amazing. I mean,
Can we give people a little brief?
We should mention it. It's one of the most exciting stories. I mean, so Ramanujan was living in India about 10 years ago. And he was living in Madras, India. He was a poor chap.
Very poor chap, actually.
Very, very poor. He didn't have access to any libraries, anything like that. But yet he was very good at math. He was extraordinarily good at math. And he would produce this unique, original math on these envelopes. In the back of envelopes, he will these scribbles that look otherworldly. And at some point, he was also very sick during his youth. He would send these letters to these professors all over the world, to try to see what they thought of his ideas. And he ended up sending some of these scribbles, some of this math to Hardy and Littlewood of Cambridge, Trinity College, actually. I went to Trinity College as well. That's where I went.
I almost got into Trinity myself.
Really?
Yeah, high five, dude. That's a great college to get into.
No,
they have a PPE program at Trinity, no?
Yeah.
Politics, philosophy, economics. Yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted, but go on.
Yeah. No, that's very cool. So he went there, right? And how did he go there? So first of all, when J.H. Hardy saw the letters from Ramanujan, he thought initially this guy's a crackpot. What is this guy from India sending this bizarre math? The math looked strange. It looked
alien.
Yep. Alien, frankly.
It was like 2 degrees of separation away from contemporary math at that point.
Really bizarre stuff, right? This guy was original, to say the least. Now, one day, Hardy was playing tennis with Littlewood. He was playing tennis, and suddenly something occurred to him. He said to himself, look, if these scribbles, are not true, none would have the imagination to make them up.
Yeah, of course.
None would have the imagination to make something so uniquely, originally, quite bizarre up. I mean, there's something about it. So he ran back to his office and he looked over the scribbles again, and it turned out there's something about this. Mm-hmm. He was surprised, and so he invited Ramanujan up to Cambridge, and together in a few years they did a lot of groundbreaking math. In fact, Ramanujan did, even though Hardy was the premier mathematician at the time, or math at that time. Actually, he had this extraordinary saying, that something he said. He said, on a scale from 1 to 100 on innate mathematical talent, he put himself like, I think 10 or 20 or something, and he put Ramanujan at 100. And literally off scale. This guy was just genius. Obviously, unfortunately, he died in just a few years. But today, until this day, people use his math to understand black holes and whatnot, like the most most abstract stuff, just from these few years of him doing this bizarre math. Now, here's the punchline. Why are we talking about Ramanujan and genius, right? This guy would say that Namagiri, the village, spirit, would give him these dreams where he would see his math. The math came to him in his dreams.
Yes.
What is that about? Could that be true? Like literally, this happened to him. And the answer to that is, we don't know for sure, but there seems to be maybe there's a divine element. Maybe there is more creativity in dreams. Well, it turns out there are more creativity in dreams for sure. So the neurochemical environment does foster more creativity for sure. We know that. But still, the fact that he created this math so originally, so fast, so quickly, so in this mysterious manner, just from his dreams, is striking. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, he came up with genius stuff that math at Oxford, Cambridge, Yale, Harvard, Princeton, wherever else was just inaccessible. And this is without his math, if I may speak crassly, he was kind of a village simpleton at best. And then he's dreaming all this beautiful math.
Dreaming it up, yeah.